What's happening, guys? Welcome back to another video. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment, and without any further ado, we're gonna go ahead and jump right in. So it has been a little bit. We've honestly been crazy busy keeping up with everything. You can see we got a lot of projects going on right now just in this garden alone. Basically, we're beginning to harvest our winter crop, process all of that, as well as let our spring crop kind of come through. You can see the garden's kind of starting to wake up. Our peach tree that we planted last year doing phenomenal. We're gonna go ahead and chop some of these, but essentially what we're going to be doing is harvesting all of the greens of stuff. We kind of let them try to go to seed, but these are just starting to get to the point they're attracting pests and they're just sucking up nutrients. We could at least feed this to the chickens. So like for example, what we're doing is we're kind of coming through and looking for our turnips mostly. Our turnips seem to do better this year. We did have some broccoli, not a whole lot. I think what we're going to do next year is we're actually going to plant a month earlier to get some better growths. So this right here is going to be a turnip, and I do believe it's a turnip because the white to the transition, most of the radishes are just like pure red. That's not a very good one. They're like a hot pink. But yeah, so these are going to be our turnips. And basically what we're doing is, you can see something's already been eating on it, so the chickens are going to get to eat that one. But we're just bringing it over here. The ones that are too small, because we do have quite a few, and any weeds that I'm pulling are going into this bucket, which we're going to then compost. And for this, let's see if we can do it for just one hand. I'm just taking my pocket knife and kind of cleaning them up. And let's see if we can get it. And there we go. And separating. So these are the greens. You can't eat them, but we're not going to try and preserve them right now. And then we're just filling this tub up with our turnips. And it doesn't look like much, but believe it or not, this is way too big of a tub to be harvesting in all at once. Because what we're doing is we're actually dehydrating as I go along. So that way we can save it. We're going to be making a lot of stews because the rabbits have been breeding and they do better in stews. We're going to get all to that in a second. On our onions, this year was interesting, to be honest. You can see we got small ones, we got some larger ones, and just different sizes. So as they get larger, what we're doing is we're dehydrating them. I'm dehydrating the whole plant, the greens, the onion bulbs, even if they're not done. That way I really just have time to process, because we have so many onions planted out here. You can kind of see over here, I mean, that's all just onions. We got onions all back here and kind of spread out and stuff. Our tomatoes and stuff are growing out nicely. We still got to plant our bell peppers, blackberries coming out. Like I said, we are in, technically, according to the Farmer's Almanac, day 2 of official spring. We got potatoes coming out. We have a tobacco plant growing over here. It's the same one that we had in the pot. We're having to pick flowers as it produces the flowers. Eventually we want to save seeds. We're going to see how well that wards off pests. Even though, yes, we do have pests all over the garden, we're also getting beneficial insects. So spiders, especially those little zipper garden spiders, have been prolific. For example, right here, I don't know if y'all can see it. I mean, we have a spider right here. Our chili pekin did die, but I got a mulcher now, so we're actually going to be mulching that up to create compost later on. And I also saw somewhere in here some beneficial insects. Let's see if we can find them. Roly-polies also been pretty prolific. Up there, got a ladybug hiding from us. But there is a ladybug down there. So again, even though we do have pests, we're also getting a lot of beneficial insects. So I'm trying to slowly remove the food source for the bad insects and start increasing for the good ones. We also, our compost finished, so this is basically what we're looking at. I know it looks mulchy, but whenever we combined all of our piles, we added a bunch of leaves, and we're going to be slowly adding this around the garden as we get time, just kind of around the plants, nothing too specific, just scattering it around because we have it. And I would say that I believe this is the first time outside of the very first time we did it in the last video we did, that this garden has ever had any sort of organic compost added to it. We have done liquid fertilizers that I made before, but this is the first time we've had actual compost that's mostly kind of finished down. Again, potatoes sprouting everywhere. They're actually becoming a nuisance because on our drops that we've been getting lots of potatoes, and we try to compost them and they grow. But again, we'll get to all that in a second. We have also been planting trees. These are some pomegranates, and this isn't even half of what we have planted. The rest is actually inside. We're trying some different methods. These are the bell peppers we're going to be putting out. Also got a hold of some nasty busted up basil. We're going to see what we can put in the garden. These are the moringa trees that we planted last year, and this is one of the 3 coffee trees. I think it's still in dormancy, but we'll find out. And of course, you know, I don't know if y'all remember any of the old videos. We had like 5 of these trays filled to the brim with plants, and we ran that about twice. We have had casualties. Again, we've lost some plants. That's fine. That's why we put out a whole lot. Another thing we've been working on is really just kind of cleaning up all this. And we did some new builds out in the chicken and rabbitry, which we'll get to in a second. Bunch of tubing. We're actually going to be running some new tubing lines. This is going to be a water barrel. You see it's got a hole there so we can lay it on its side out of the spout and run a automated watering feeder, I guess, or a waterer to both the chickens and the rabbits to kind of save us some time. This is what turned out of our compost. We combined all the compost when they were ready, and as you can see, the chickens just work it. Chicken garden doing fabulous. It's growing out. We're gonna get all kinds of different stuff out of that. The chickens have been eating it. They love that stuff. They'll pluck on that for a while. As you can see, some of our potatoes that just decided to grow. This is actually like the 3rd one. You see the chicken's been working on. We had one over there and one over there. Chickens ate it down, killed it, and there's that one. This is what our compost pile is right now. We're still loading it again, so what we'll do is we'll take 2 of those molasses tubs I showed y'all, dump it on here with about 1 to 2 bags of the mulch that's out there so we can start cleaning that up. We managed to get a hold of some new pools. Now we can have our aquacultures. It's much larger. We did have to add some stuff to where the smaller chickens could access it, but that's perfectly fine because it holds so much more water. Aquaponics, this is going to get torn down. We have some new ideas with the tubing that I showed you guys. What we're going to be doing is we're actually going to be running water from here directly to the garden out there through that tubing. And that's how we're going to perform water changes and things of that nature. It's just going to be easier. It's going to push the nutrients all the way back up towards the top of the hill, and then that way it can slowly leach back down, because this area back here is our attempt to kind of hold all the fertilizer in one place to where we can haul it back to the top, so we don't have too much leaching or anything else. The worm bin has been doing great. We've been throwing all of our like potatoes and stuff in here just to kind of let them sprout. I think I have some garlic buried in here somewhere. Yeah, potatoes galore, but that's fine because if it doesn't feed the chickens, it will feed us. We are getting to a point that the chickens are almost at harvesting age. Let's see if we can find our first. We have made some sales, so we were a little behind, but as you can see, they're getting bigger. These are all for meat, and that one right there is actually a rooster. We'll be harvesting hopefully in a week or 2, depending on size and everything. This is the new feeder we built. As you can see, they're loving it. They can kind of stick their head in. They're really not making a mess. And this thing can hold like almost 200 pounds of feed, which I really enjoy. What we did is we stopped making individual feeds because they were just making a mess out of the hanging ones we had right here. And basically, they were just knocking it around. They weren't actually eating it, and then they were coming out here. It was attracting a lot of wild birds, so we went ahead and went with that method. Night and day. We don't have to really store feed anymore. So these are about to get cleaned up and taken out as well. I mean, if I can fit 200 pounds of feed in that thing, I don't really think we need to store it. So what we've been doing for that feeder is we've actually been mixing. So we would pour in one bag, 50-pound bag of just our scratch, and then we would put about one big red scoop. Got one right here. Of diatomaceous earth. We bought it by the 50-pound bag for like 25 bucks. So put one scoop in there, and then we would pour, the next bag would be the starter grower, again another scoop of the diatomaceous earth, and we just kind of repeated that to where it's all mixing in, and egg production has gone through the roof. Coats are looking good. The trees that we planted here are all starting to grow out, the peach tree and even the moringa. For the big pools, we did have a dog waterer over where the dogs are, and we had the small pool over here. We combined those for the rabbits. The rabbits started to get fleas and mites, so we went ahead and put some preventative maintenance out here, and they have their own dust bath. So we took the big one, kind of crushed it up to where, again, we can easily just kind of pour off water, but it keeps everything under dry. And we filled it with diatomaceous earth. As you can see, they've been playing in it. So they are beginning to be mite and flea free. They're just taking care of themselves, doing the do. We still have a total of 4 females and 1 male. They are beginning to take. I have seen some successful breedings, so it's a matter of when and if they have babies, assuming there's no miscarriages or anything like that. Once production starts, we're going to be doing some modifications again. We would like to put a watering tray either here or here off the ground on a stone, again through a water fed from that barrel right over there, so we can remove this and give them more running space. As you can see, we have another big pool. We actually got 2. One over there, over there, this one here. This one is just held on by a stone. We made another automated feeder. Also, they were getting up on top of the hay, and it was just getting watered, and they were pooping all over it, and it was just getting nasty. So we rolled the hay to where they still kind of get on it, but not as much. And then this is actually our feeder, which again can hold approximately 200 pounds of feed. We'll take this top off, and again, there you go. As you can see, they've definitely been eating out of it. Ooh, I may have to kind of trim this bottom up a little bit because it seems like it's not feeding 100% as I'd like. But again, 200 pounds of rabbit feed. They use it as they want. It stays dry. It doesn't clog. And if it does, well, we'll update you guys. Honestly, it's kind of a trial. I'm not sure if I like it. I may end up making some modifications. As you saw, it wasn't fully fed, but we'll keep an eye on it. And they seem to have been doing pretty well off of it anyways. So, and just for the record, we actually had this one. This one was kind of busted, so that's why we used it as just a top to kind of keep rain out. And oh, let's see if we can get that back on. They also, it's providing shade, so they've also been hanging out underneath it. And for them, it's an absolute upgrade compared to their old bowl that they were using. It didn't really hold much feed. We were having to come out and clean it almost every day because they kept getting in it and pooping in it. So we're definitely liking the feeder as is. It's been up for, I'd say, well, we set it up Sunday and today is Wednesday. So it's been up for about 3 or 4 days with no issues. And we'll do some updates later on. Since the fish have passed and we're gonna completely restructure the aquaculture, we went ahead and took our 50-pound bag of fish food, spread it all out, and I mean, this whole area just almost instantaneously composted. Even this stuff right here that I had like 20 pounds of feed on. Of course, the chickens ate some of it. I didn't see any negative health effects, so I guess they'll be all right. Now, in terms of the aquaculture, So I have said a couple times we shut it down. We are going to be starting it back up. But if you've seen any of my older videos, I did one about fish in a barrel. And this was supposed to be a modified version of that was a little bit more self-sustaining. And we wanted to go more aquaponics because of the couple of crashes we had. But since I got a hold of all that irrigation tubing over here, we don't really need to worry about aquaponics anymore. Would it be nice? Sure. But that's really just not the route we're trying to go right now. We would like to put some plants in the actual tank, but that's actually a couple of tanks of space that I could have right now, all running on the system I already have. Meaning I can actually begin to water and fertilize our garden up there. So we're going to be taking this large tubing here. As you can see, digging about 6 inches down. Almost said 6 foot. No, we're not going that far. Just 6 inches down. And then we're going to put a faucet of some sort over towards the corner over here. And that way, or maybe not a faucet, just where it kind of pops out and we have some sort of connection to a water hose. So I can just move the water hose around and just slowly flood the garden as I feel fit. We haven't needed to use the chicken tractor at all. That's been pretty copacetic. We did add another flower bed, which I'll show you guys later once we finish it. The bed is built. We got some edging for free. Again, it was trash dump, so we have been going wide open, trying to, you know, collect everything and clean up, do maintenance on the property as we see fit. So we've definitely been busy on that aspect. We do have a mushroom kit from Back to Roots that you can get at like Walmart. It's an oyster mushroom. We are going to be doing a mushroom area, but first I have to kind of clean all this up and compost it because it's full of trash bags of leaf mulch. Once we get that done, we have decided, so for mushrooms, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be following a totem method. And of course, we're going to do videos on all this whenever it comes up. But I think that's the majority. We are making some modifications to try and get better charcoal results. We haven't really been needing to use the charcoal as of right now, but we're, you know, progressively getting to the point to where we're a little bit more self-sustained. As I said, the garden has been pretty much weed free. No issues on that front. We did plant some stuff over here that is new. You can see we extended our garden bed a little bit. I don't know if I've done a video on it yet. We got our sugarcane planted right in here. That is not sugarcane, which means I need to come back through and mulch again. But that's fine. We'll get to that in a little while. And then also we planted our dragon fruit over here. We're gonna see how that goes. You know, as you can see, they're not doing bad. They're healthy. That one's meh, but we'll get to it when we get to it. Like I said, it's 2 days into spring. We're already in production. So it's not too bad compared to last year, where we were actually a few months behind and all that jazz. So I hope this helps you guys. Thank you for watching the video. As always, don't forget to like, subscribe, drop a comment. Be kind out there. Peace, and have a great day.